As Australians mark Anzac Day, another far-off war is continuing to rage, causing untold anguish. Since erupting 2 years ago, the war in Syria has claimed some 70,000 lives and caused what the United Nations Refugee Agency is calling the worst humanitarian crisis since the end of the Cold War. More than 1.3 million people have fled across the country's borders, many of them into neighbouring Lebanon. Middle East correspondent Matt Brown travelled to Lebanon's Bekaa Valley with the Australian head of Save the Children.
Lebanon's Bekaa Valley is full to the brim with Syrian refugees. There are so many, they're filling the apartments and slums and spilling into squalid camps dotted along the valley floor. Australian aid veteran Roger Hearn is the Middle East director for the charity Save the Children. He says the growth of this crisis has been stunning.
I think it's a once-in-a-generation escalation of a crisis. I've never seen anything in my professional career so dramatic in terms of numbers and also the impact on the surrounding countries.
2 months ago, 100,000 refugees lived in this valley, but those numbers grew rapidly, and now it's home to more than 150,000.
We are seeing really Lebanon as the flashpoint for this crisis.
Save the Children's been distributing basic building material and tarpaulins to families like Amina Al-Mansour Al-Zaki's. That's put a roof over their heads, but the real storm is going on within. Amina's husband isn't home because she says he can't stand being cooped up here. He suffered a brain injury at work just before the civil war began, and then he wouldn't let the family leave Syria even as the bombs started raining down.
My husband wanted to die in Syria. Everyone had left the village except us, but my husband would go to the roof hoping to get hit by a bomb.
When the shelling grew unbearable, Amina put her foot down. She and her husband and all 5 kids fled for their lives.
We had nothing. Our children were hungry. I ran away, and here, now, they can eat.
Amina's now making the best of a very, very bad lot, but she has no idea when or how the family will ever get home or what the future holds for her children.
I want them to live, if God wills it. I want them to work and to eat. I want them and their father to be happy.
With his father out of action, Amina's eldest child, 10-year-old Turkiya, has taken on a load no child should have to bear. When he's not playing with the other kids or doing basic chores, he heads out to scavenge scrap metal to earn a little cash for the family.
I get this stuff to sell, to bring food for my brothers and sisters. This is important.
Thanks to the horrors of Syria's civil war, this little boy's view of school, which should be a safe place of opportunity, has been horribly warped.
I was not doing anything at school. We were afraid of the airstrikes. The planes would strike, the artillery would strike. We were just afraid. I don't want to go back to school because they were hitting the school.
The sort of trauma that children carry around with them that we see on a daily basis in the workplaces that we have, it's really quite overwhelming. We've had situations where children are unable to speak. They're simply so traumatised about what they've seen.
Save the Children runs programs to give children a safe place to learn and play, and it provides cash handouts to especially needy families, but not this one. None of the aid agencies have enough to go round. The UN says it needs $1.5 billion to cope with this crisis, and so far only around half of that money has been delivered.
It makes it very depressing when you know that you can make a response, that you can make a difference to children in this situation, but you're unable to provide that assistance.
All through the Bekaa Valley you find families in desperate need, families so far untouched by the aid effort. Ahmed Al-Juba's family and 2 others are squatting in this abandoned farmhouse. No one wants to be filmed, but Ahmed wants people to know what they're coping with.
There was no electricity, no water, no windows. Sheep lived here. It was full of dung and really dirty.
Ahmed's family fled the outskirts of Damascus when his cousin was killed outside a bakery.
My cousin went to get bread and was shot by a sniper. He was killed immediately.
Since arriving in the Bekaa, the family has gathered wood and bought plastic to fend off the valley's biting winds. But their cash is running out. They can't afford to send the kids to school, and this 17-year-old can feel his future slipping away.
I just want to live like other people. I want to graduate, but I can't. What can I do?
And matters could get much worse. The battle for Damascus is yet to get underway in earnest. When it does, the number of new refugees is expected to take this crisis into another dimension, and the risk it will destabilise countries like Lebanon will be much more severe.
Our fear is that once the fighting really starts in Damascus, we will see really a flood of refugees coming again into the Bekaa Valley, the first port of call.
Like many aid workers, Roger Hearns developed a hard outer shell. But this father of 2 says he can't help but be touched by the plight of these families who've been through so much already and still have a long ordeal ahead.
It just makes you want to weep, really, to think of children who literally have lost everything, and you think of their future and it just seems black.